Right. How's everybody doing? That's good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you. Y'all feel free to come on and speak if you wish. Um, all right, cool. So today, Wednesdays will basically be I'll just kind of go over the topics that you should have covered in the homework. And if there's time, do a little bit of code, but likely there won't be because an hour goes fast. And then Saturdays will be all about fingers on keyboards and stuff. Um, we are going to go ahead and try out to do remote on Saturday, so everyone will be remote. Um, and if it goes well, then we'll stick with that. If not, then we can definitely go back to in person. Um, yeah, we'll see how it goes. So let's see if we got everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know Wayne possibly wasn't going to make it, and Rachel is not here yet. So hopefully she'll hop on. And I was going to mention, so cameras, definitely if you want to have them on, fantastic. I would highly recommend to have them on Saturday, so that way we can see your faces and see how you're struggling and be able to help you. Which I know is difficult with uh, an online thing. Um, so yeah, so the more your cameras are on, the more we can see you and see your furrowed brow, and you're crying and things like that. So I'm gonna make sure we can do that. Cool. All right, I'm gonna share my screen here potentially. Whoa, I got a lot of desktops. One, share. What is this? Yes. Yeah. Okay, I gotta quit Zoom. I'll be right back. Oh, okay. Let's leave meeting. Oh, I have to sign a new host. What the heck? Okay. One. Unmute. Okay, I'm back. Permissions. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to try to share my screen. Allow this one share. Okay. Done. Back to here and here. And get this thing out of here. Okay. Y'all see my screen? Well,
Yes.
thank you. Oh, should we go over there? Uh, okay, that'll work. Okay, any questions first off about the homework? Nothing major, pretty cut and dry. It only gets harder from here.
Um, I couldn't get the ID value done correctly for some reason. I don't
Okay.
know what I'm doing wrong, but that's the only spot that I got stuck at.
Okay. We can definitely go over that. Let me move that up here. Share that. Okay. I think that's better. Okay. Do y'all just see the browser? You don't see your faces, right?
I mean,
Good.
I see a little like a side panel sort of, but maybe we're supposed to. I'm not sure.
Oh, in your Zoom, yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, okay.
what I'm sharing, you're just seeing the browser, right?
Yep, that's all.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Okay, cool.
browser.
Cool, cool. Yeah, it had a one with like all your faces up top. I thought I was sharing everybody. So okay, good. Yeah, so we'll get to IDs and classes in here. And then we can definitely hit on that a couple times to make sure it's clear. Anything else? All good. Okay, we'll just get right into it then. HTML. So HTML is hypertext markup language. It's again the frame of the house, right? So it's what's gonna build it out. It's not the style, it's not the functionality, it's just the frame. Um, so you saw some boilerplate plate code. Um, and so the browser takes that and makes the page so you can see everything on there. A lot of this stuff is really just so you know it. Like well, nobody should ask you like, what HTML version are we on or anything like that. Like this, nobody cares, right? So this is, as you saw on Saturday, like you can do a bang symbol or an exclamation point and it's going to write this for you. So there's no reason to memorize this, but there is reason to know what's in here so that you can use it in your page. But we'll go over it real quick so you know. So the first line here, this doc type, this just tells you, as it says here, that it is HTML5. So there were 4 versions before this that apparently sucked. So now we have 5. Um, I think 5 has been the one for at least as long as I've been coding, probably a lot longer. Um, yeah. The next line, so this is the root HTML element that wraps everything. So you'll notice that there's a beginning HTML tag and then an ending HTML tag. So everything in your page will be inside of those tags, right? That's like the wrapper. In here, you can language English. If you're coding in a different language, then more power to you. You probably need to change that, but I will not be. It's going to be English. Um, it would be pretty cool though to see someone like in Japanese or something coding the Outlook. So the head part, this part is for metadata and for your title and things like that. Metadata sounds like a really scary word. It's not. It's just data that isn't like displayed, right? So it's stuff that you may tell the browser, or like again the title. You'll see the little title up top. This is how you'll bring in styles, things like that. So uh, it's not scary. It's just things that aren't displayed on the page. Everything that you're going to see on the page is going to be in the body. And again, so you notice these have beginning and or starting and closing tags as well. So body and then closing body. Most tags have an opening and closing element. Some don't, but most do. We'll get into the ones that don't. So inside the head, again, there's metadata. So this like tells it what character set it's using. It's always going to be UTF-8. And this tells about the viewport, like what it's going to look like. It's always going to look like this. These are not things that are going to change unless you're doing something really weird. Title is what appears up here in the top. So in your little tab there, that's what this says right here. So this obviously is not this page that we're looking at, so it doesn't say that. But that's what's there. You can change your little icon right here. It's called a favicon, and that's done in the head as well. Some of the things like I mentioned, bringing in styles, you can bring your style sheets in. You can run scripts and things, but normally that's done at the bottom of the body. If you look at, like, for instance, let's just look at a page. Let's just look at like Walmart.com. So browser tools are going to be a big thing we're going to use. So you can right click and go to inspect element right here. Or if you're on a Mac, you can hit F12 and it'll just bring it up for you. I got mine on the side over here. Let me bring it over there. Just a second here. Okay, so it'll open up on the side here, and you can look in here and you can look at elements, and this is going to be your page, right? So you'll see here in your head right here, all this metadata stuff. And then you go on down because there's a lot of metadata stuff. Bringing in a lot of scripts and things in the head as well. So a lot of stuff can go in there that's all about your page or to do stuff on your page. And we'll get more into browser tools later on. Okay. Checking along. Okay. So there are many different tags we'll use for many different things. I say tags and elements kind of interchangeable. We're just talking about the thing in between the brackets that we're going to use to build out our page. Headings and paragraphs are obviously important. There are 6 headings, so H1 through H6, and they get smaller as the number goes up, just to make it confusing. So H1 is going to be big and H6 is going to be small. So it says use them in order, don't skip levels. That's really about kind of the semantic reasonings of your page. So semantic is like if anyone's ever used a screen reader or knows someone who has, and we can do that on a Saturday. But basically, if someone who needs assistance with the page because they can't see it or whatever, it'll read out the different things to them on the page, and if the headings are used properly, then it would be like, this is the main heading, apples or whatever. And then like, oh, this is a subsection. So it'll know how to emphasize it for that person. Semantic elements, and we'll talk about more semantic elements, are very important when it comes to that, right? When it comes to accessibility and things like that. Accessibility is one of the most overlooked things in web development because, we just want to get stuff out the door and get paid for it. So, why do we care about the, 5% of people who can't read it? It's a horrible attitude. Unfortunately, it's kind of how the industry is. But we're going to teach it anyway because, it is good stuff and it's always good to try to accommodate for people that you can, So that's when we talk about semantic stuff, that's kind of what we're talking about. Okay, moving on down. So paragraph tag obviously creates a paragraph. A paragraph is going to be a block level thing, and we'll get into block and inline here in a little bit. But it's just basically if you need a block of text, right? It's going to be in a paragraph. So why shouldn't we use an H1 just to make text bigger? Obviously, there's the answer right there. So we're talking about semantic meanings, like we mentioned a minute ago. Screen readers and search engines use them to understand the page structure. So if you're going to adjust the stuff, like if you want to make a paragraph really big, you'll style it instead of using an H1 or whatever. Questions on that? Pretty cut and dry so far. Cool. All right. Okay. Text formatting. So this is again talking about the semantic stuff. Because you can use a B tag, right? And it would make the text bold. But it has no meaning behind that. So you're making it bold. Why? Right? So if you were to use a strong tag, then it's going to tell it, oh, okay, I know why it's bold. Like it has a purpose for that, for being bold. It wasn't just for nothing. So, and you can really go overboard on the semantic stuff. We'll quit talking about it in a second. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you just want to build a page, right? And then you can kind of make it for everyone. But if you can along the way, then it's good to do as well. So my last bit on that. Okay. If you want to make something italics, you can use the EM, emphasized text, which is interesting. I don't know how italic and emphasized kind of how they made that EM thing, but it's cool. It's good to know. You can also use the I. Cool. All right. Lists. So you have your list items. within each list. Two main types of lists, ordered and unordered. You can do a lot of styling with either the numbers or the dots. Like there's a ton of different, like instead of a dot, a dash, or a bunch of things, an emoji. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. Okay. And I will share that with you guys after. So if I'm going too fast over some stuff, you can see it as well. Links. So links obviously create or A tags, anchor tags create hyperlinks that can take you places. So that's pretty cool. You can also use links to go to different pages on your own site. And then you can also, as I think you were struggling with the target, can also throw a target in there. And the underscore blank target opens a new web page as opposed to just changing the page they're on. So if you didn't want someone to leave your site, but you wanted to offer them like, hey, go to my shop page and buy this thing or whatever, you could use target blank. So that way it's going to go to, in this case, example.com, but it's going to open a new page to do it. So they're not leaving, your site entirely. They're just going over there and then coming back. You can also use A tags to jump to different points on your page. So if you have at the top, if you have like a contact us button, you can click that and have it jump down to the contact us page. And you can do that with IDs instead of hrefs because it's on your own page. So it's not going to a different place. It's just on the same page. Pretty neat. Okay. Images. So images is going to be our first self-closing tag. So it does not have a like slash image. It's just image just opens it up and then there's nothing to close it. You can put a slash at the end here if you want to. It's not required. Why does an image not have a self-closing tag? No idea. I guess perhaps you don't wrap things in images, I guess maybe on the page, but I don't know. Just doesn't have one. Okay, let's talk about attributes for a second. So target is an attribute, an href is an attribute, and then as you see down here, source is an attribute, and then alt is an attribute. So an attribute is a what's it called? It has a thing. Let me see. I think I have it down here. I'll go back up, don't worry. There we go. It adds extra information to your element. And they go inside like we saw attribute, right? So IDs, classes, and all that, these are all attributes and they all do different things. So like the href attribute is going to be the link that the A tag is going to take you to. Alt is going to be alternate text for an image, which if we go back up to our image, this is the alt attribute right here. Like this image is not displaying for some reason. And so the alt says placeholder image showing 300, whatever. Like that would be in this alt right here. So if you had a picture of a dog, you would want to say picture of a dog, or actually you wouldn't want to say picture of a dog. You would want to say dog. And that's a different thing, but for the whole semantic thing again, if it is an image, you don't want to say that it's an image because the screen reader will already say it's an image. So you just put dog, not picture of dog. But nonetheless, this is what's going to display if your image doesn't load. I think, or if you hover over it. Let me see. Maybe not this one. Okay. Anyway, width is another attribute, so you can tell it how big it is. You can also obviously change the styling, the width, and everything with your styles as opposed to in here in your image tag. Okay. And this is just talking about the importance of the alt attribute. Screen readers don't know what it is, don't know what that image is if it's not there. So even if your image does display, the screen reader doesn't know what it is because it can't see the image. It can only read that attribute. Okay. All right. Audio and video. Um, those are pretty self-explanatory, right? One's going to show a little video, one's going to play some sort of noise. So if you have like a little, uh, say you have a shopping cart on your page, and whenever they make a purchase, you want it to like do like a cha-ching, you could do that with the audio attribute. And then obviously with the movie one, if you wanted to have a little a movie like YouTube or whatever on your page, you can do it with that. Um, very similar to the image. Oops. For the video, you're gonna have a source, which is gonna be your MP3 or 4 file or whatever. Same thing with the audio for your MP3. Controls is another or a specific attribute to video and audio so that you can actually show the controls so they can actually play it or not. So maybe with the Ching one, you wouldn't need controls because you would just play it one time, but maybe with the video one, you would want it. Okay. An iframe is an embedded website in your website. So like the Matrix, you know. So you could, instead of like just displaying a video with the video tag, you could have an iframe and actually just show YouTube video directly in your website. And you tell it how big you want it to be. And then there's a bunch of other attributes you can give to it to make it your own. And obviously it needs a source in which to display. And it doesn't have to be a video. This could be any page you want, you know. You could just make it
So,
good.
question.
Yeah.
Did we do any of this in the homework? Or did I just completely miss all this?
This is probably deeper than the homework did. Um,
Okay, because I don't remember putting any video, any audio, any iframe,
yeah,
splicing it.
no, this is all deeper than that. Yeah,
Oh,
we're just yeah, but you did do the basic HTML stuff, right?
yes, I did
Okay.
whatever that was on the homework list, but I didn't see us embedding
Yeah,
videos in
no,
there or
no,
audio or nothing like that. So I just didn't want to make sure I didn't.
yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, I'm just going deeper on it. This is really just a kind of a familiarization thing, right? And then Saturday we'll get in and really get to building. All right. And honestly, so video or iframe and videos and all that stuff is not something you're going to use a whole lot, but it's definitely good to know that it's there. Same with SVGs. So SVGs are just images that are described with text, basically. Um, you won't use it a whole lot in the beginning. If you become a designer or something, you might use these more often, but they're as just a developer, they're not really used a whole lot. I think I've used them like 4 times. Um, but what they do is they give you a instead of like importing an image or whatever, they just draw it for you in the code. They're pretty cool. But all right, we talked a little bit about attributes. We'll talk about IDs and classes real quick. So an ID, let's see if I have. Okay, so right here, this div is given ID header. And so what that does, you're only supposed to use an ID one time in your page, like it's supposed to be unique, right? And so if you, for example, the contact us button, you could give your contact form an ID, let's say contact us, and then in your button, it'd be an A tag, you would give it an href with the hashtag of uh, contact us, right? And so it would match that hashtag contact us with the ID contact us. And so it would know where to go to, like where to jump to, right? And then also they can be used for your styling. If you have something that's specifically only going to be styled that way, then in your CSS or your styling, your style sheet, you can use that hashtag again, say contact us, and then those styles will be only applied to that element with the ID of contact us. Okay. The difference in an ID and a class is classes can have multiple elements that they go to. So if you had 3 buttons, that all were styled the same, you could give those buttons each the same class of, let's just say, I don't know, button or something. But the same class, right? And then in your style sheet, you would do dot or period, and then whatever that name of that class is, and then put the styles in, and it would be applied to those buttons that have that class. So ID is one thing, it's unique. Class can be multiple different things that are going to be similar. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. And we'll see some examples of it. Um, let's see if any of these others should we talk about that. Type is important when you're talking about a form, because you'll have different input types. Like you'll have a text input type, you'll have like a select input type, a date, time, others that I can think of right now. But it's the type of form the type of form element that you get. We're going to talk about those. Okay. This is just hitting that semantic point again. Instead of, in this case, making a bunch of divs, it would be better to use these tags. And these tags are special. These don't actually change or control any of the style of it. And like if you have a paragraph, it's going to be like a whole block, which we'll get into in a second. These are just semantic tags. So these are specifically for the screen reader or for you to be able to look at the code and say, okay, this is a header. Because if you just do div ID header, like you might know, okay, I put header there. But if you have the actual header tag, then it tells, okay, this is the header section. And then the nav section, the main footer. There's a couple more down here. Yeah. But it's a good way to organize your code and so that you know, and so like screen readers and things know, okay, this is what these sections are. There's even a sections one. So, okay. All right. And then comments. Comments are good to have. It's very good to comment your code a lot in the beginning, right? It's basically your notes to yourself to say, hey, this is what this part's supposed to be doing, or this is what this is supposed to look like, or put a to do and say, I need to come back and fix this or whatever it is. Super helpful. These are what's my last? Um, what's the word? Symbols. I don't know. These are how you get the comments to be comments, and I'll show you in VS Code in a second. This is like an inline comment, and then if you need a multiple line, you just put them on the outside there. And this is the same thing, just says to do. But as you move on in your career, you might have some people who are like, don't comment the code, it should explain itself. It's not hurting anything to comment the code. Like it's not taking any longer to run. It's doing nothing bad. So if a comment is helpful, write a comment. Like never feel like you can't because somebody just thinks they're too good about it or whatever. Right. Nesting and indentation. This is again just kind of about clean code, making it readable. And I mentioned the other day that you could write like all your JavaScript in one line, but you wouldn't be able to read it. Same sort of deal here. Instead of having it just all on the left, it's better to have it kind of indented and within its parent. You're going to hear that a lot. So like this div would be the parent of all of this code. And then this unordered list would be the parent of like this list item here. So keeping it out so you can read it really well is helpful. HTML really doesn't care if you do that or not. It's still probably going to run, but it is easier to read. And I think y'all downloaded the Prettier extension. It should help you with this, with keeping it kind of clean and in line. Okay. Block level versus inline. I've mentioned that a couple times. So what block level means is that it's going to be all on its own line, right? So if you have a paragraph or a div, and you put another paragraph right next to it, it's going to be on two separate lines. Like even if you wrote it in the code next to each other, they're going to be on two separate lines because they're block level and they take up the whole space. Okay. Inline, like a span tag, is not. So if you put a span tag next to a span tag, that's how it's going to show on the page. And then if you put a span tag below a span tag, it's still going to show next to each other on the page because it's just inline versus the whole block. Okay. And then this gives you kind of just a list of the ones that do it. Okay. We're not going to go over entities. You can read it if you want, but no big deal. Okay. Now put it all together. So this is going to just show us kind of a basic page of how it would kind of look. So again, we're starting with our doc type here, got our HTML tag. Notice that everything is in this HTML tag. So it starts here, goes all the way down to here. Okay. And then we have our head element, which is going to be where our metadata goes, and our title, and all that other information if we need all that. And then we have our body. So there is nothing in between the closing head tag and the body tag, and there never will be. These have to be right next to each other. So when our body starts here, and then it's going to end right before the HTML. A super common thing to do, especially in the beginning, is to mix up the order of these. So you may have your body outside your HTML or something, and stuff isn't looking right. So you have to be conscious of that. So you can know like where it is. So when you're debugging, something to look for, make sure that your opening and closing tags are where they need to be and the things are inside of them if they need to be inside of them. Cool. Okay. Again, the head tag, none of this shows on your actual page. The only sort of exception is the title, which would show up here in your tab. The body is where everything's going to show up in your page. Cool. So jumping to the body, we have a header tag. This again is a semantic tag. So it doesn't actually do anything. It just says, hey, this is the header section. And a screen reader would go, oh, you're in the header section. So we're going to open it up here. We're going to close it right here. And then inside, we're going to have an H1. So that's going to be the biggest heading. And then we have another semantic element, a nav here. So it's going to say, hey, this is a navigation. And then three anchor tags, which these three, notice they have the hashtag or pound sign, depending on your generation. And then about, right? So this is looking for the ID of about when it gets clicked on. Okay. So if we look down here at this section, there's the ID of about. So when this gets clicked on, it's going to jump down here to this ID. That's how that connection is made. And then same thing with projects and contact. So we see right here we have projects, and then we don't have a contacts. Well, that's crazy. Okay. Oh, guess I forgot that. Okay. Cool. So that's in the nav, and then that's within the header. So you could say that this A tag is a grandchild of the header, right? Because this would be the parent of the A tag, the nav, and then the header would be like the grandparent. Okay. All right. Then we jump down here to main, another semantic tag, just saying, hey, we're in the main part of the body. Section, another semantic tag. You can obviously put IDs and things in here. You wouldn't put any styling in here because again, it's not actually something that shows. But you can use it as an anchor point for jumping in things like that. Cool. Then we got a H2, so a little bit smaller than H1, and then a paragraph. So remember, the paragraph is a block element, right? So it's going to take up the whole page. Same with H2. And then within the paragraph, we have the strong tags, which are just going to make this word bold and then tell the screen reader, hey, this is important. Got our closing tag there. And then we have an image. Again, images are self-closing, so no need for a closing tag here. A quick note on file path. So the source is going to need to be able to find wherever you have this image at. You may have it online somewhere, in which case you could put the URL of where it is. You may have it locally. So in this case, since there's nothing before the headshot here, the H on headshot, it's going to look in the same file that this project is in for something named headshot.jpg. So it's not going to go up a folder or down a folder. It's going to look right in that folder for this specific file. So that's something to keep in mind whenever you're trying to bring files in or pictures in. Okay, cool. That section is done. Then we move on to section projects, which very similar. It's got an article tag, which is another semantic tag, an H3, some emphasized text over here. And then we got a footer with the paragraph. So this little thing was that embedding thing that I skipped. This just makes a copyright symbol. You could actually just paste a copyright symbol in there or an emoji or whatever, and it would put whatever you want in there. If you want, you can definitely do this as well. Just Google them or ask ChatGPT, hey, how do I do this thing? You don't need to memorize it. That's what I'm saying. And then that is it on that page. So let's jump over to VS Code real quick. And we'll just make a new desktop HTML. Okay. Any questions? Okay. All right. So up to this point, you guys probably haven't put anything in VS Code yet, unless you've been trying to go ahead. It's been mainly in Free Code Camp, right? So we'll do this together and kind of see how it goes. I could easily do the bang and it's gonna make the whole thing for me, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna write it out. So first thing we need is our doc type, right? Which is gonna help me no matter what. But that's okay. I don't remember what the thing was. Go back here. HTML. That would be helpful. HTML. And then we got to have our HTML tag, right? With our lang English. And VS Code will try to close the tags for you, which is helpful most of the time. Sometimes it's pretty annoying, but it's good in this case. Okay. So we know that's going to be our very last tag. So I'm just put a bunch of space in there. And then we know we need our head, right? So let's put our head in here. And our head is going to take these. I'm just going to copy this because I'm lazy. Okay. Okay. So we got our nope. Char set. There you go. And our viewport, and then our title. And then let's do our body. Okay. Now we can probably bring this back up here. Okay. So this is going to be your starting point, right? So again, you could have done the bang and it would have done it for you, but it's good to know. Maybe type it out one time and then never do it again. So Saturday we're going to be building basically a Wikipedia page about ourselves. So we'll want to think about like how it's going to look, probably draw it out on a whiteboard or piece of paper, of how you kind of want it set up, your heading here, your sides, all that good stuff. So just for an example, we'll do one real quick here, like 5 minutes. So we'll want to start with we'll say we'll do a nav at the top. We'll probably have we'll do a nav. And then we'll have a couple A tags. We'll just have our content. We'll have our about me. Oops. about. And then oh, does anybody see what I messed up yet? Okay, I'm gonna keep going, but there's a bug. Contact. Let's see. Footer. Okay, so we got a nav. Now let's make our sections. So I'm gonna make a section tag. And I'm gonna make this 3 times. VS Code cheat, Shift Alt, I believe. I have my keyboard set up weird, but Shift Alt and then down will just duplicate this, whatever you've got on there. So it's the same as copying and pasting, but it's just way quicker. So just something to consider. Okay, so I need my About Me section. So if I want my About Me href to come down here to this section, what can I do? When I click that About Me to get down here to this section.
Is that the ID?
Yep, the ID. Perfect. About Me. Okay, and then we'll add one for this guy. Oop, contact. And then one more for footer. Okay. So then we'll just throw a, we'll do an H1 in here. Say this is about me. And each one again. Is contact. Nope. Contact.
So
Then,
section is basically like pages.
so it'd be like different sections in the site.
In the Okay, but you could technically have it on the same page still, scrolling down.
Yes.
I guess. Okay,
Yep.
got it.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So when doing the ID, you're gonna jump to different sections on the page, not different pages. If you were going to
Okay.
different pages, it would be like slash about me. If you had
Okay, got it, got it.
yeah. So you'd have to have an about
Okay.
me.html. Yeah. Which we can definitely throw some of those in for fun here. Let's do href equals. Well, this one we'll say is we'll do slash page 2.html. Actually, I think I just do page 2. Let's see. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. Footer. Oops. This is footer. Okay. Okay. Oh, so this section should actually probably be footer section since it's semantic that way. But it's either one of those would work fine. Again, it's just there's just semantic things. So, side note on the live server that I could not get working on Saturday, I had to use a different one. So if you guys are having trouble with that, there's this one called, get out of my way. Live Server 5 server, and apparently it's an upgraded version. So if you the one you're using works fine, then cool. If not, just grab this one, and then it's just the same thing. It has a little go live. The only difference you'll see here is it takes you to your whole folder structure, and so you have to actually go find your page. Unless, let me see. If I go here on the deal and I right click and do open 5 server, then it opens the page directly. So either way, You could have just clicked through to get here, but it's nice to have because now I can make changes and it'll make them automatically here. Let me, we're not going to see it jump because they're so close together. So if I add some style here. Margin top. Oh, my keyboard's in that weird thing. Okay. 50 pixels. Okay. Let's kill it and go live again. Well, that wasn't very much. Okay. It's 500 pixels. Okay, I should not have to kill. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now, if we click on About Me, we expect it to jump down to the About Me section, right? Uh-oh. That's not what we wanted. So it jumped to, as you can see here, it jumped to an About Me page, not to the section that we thought it would. So if we look at our code, again, so this, what's wrong with this? Why did it not jump down to About Me?
Forgot the hashtag.
Forgot the hashtag, exactly. Bam. Okay, so now if we click it, bam, jump down to the About Me section, right? Cool. And the other two already had the hashtag, so they are jumping. Footer is jumping. And then page 2, we expected to go to the other page. It did, but we don't have a page, right? We didn't build one. So in order to do that real quick, we can come over here and just make a new page, and it needs to just be page 2.html. HTML. And then I can just bang right there and just say, put a p tag. This is page 2. Okay. If you create a new file, I think you've got to kill your live server and start it over. I think, but just click it and then hit go live on that main page again. This is not the page I meant. I should have done our test page. Hold on. Test page. Okay, so now if we hit page 2, we still got a 404 because I did not want the slash. Oh, I think it's a dot slash. Yeah. The regular, like the 1/, this goes, well, it's showing it going back up. Whenever you're navigating, and we'll learn more about this later, but /, it's looking at your where you're currently at in your tree, your file tree. So you'll notice it says it index.html and all this stuff, which are all right here. If you do /, then that's going to go back up a level. But we'll get more into that on Saturday. So for now, /, this should potentially work. There we go. This is page 2. Cool. All right. Question on that? Good. IDs make more sense now.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Let's go. Let's clear some of this off here. Okay. All right. Two things that we will kind of look at real quick here, and then y'all can do them at your leisure. It's going to be a debug exercise and then a read the code exercise. Don't worry about this. I meant to delete it. the debug exercise is basically there's this broken code here, and I'll send you this gist so y'all can have it. You're gonna copy it. You're gonna make a new HTML file, put it in there, and then see if you can figure out what's wrong with it. There's 7 bugs in there. And then whenever you're done, or if you need help, the answers are down here. But definitely give it your best shot before you look at the answers. Excuse me. And then the read the code, excuse me, is going to have some questions about the code. So you can look at the code here, and then at the bottom there's some questions like what text appear in the browser tab. So you can look and say this is the browser tab up here. So you can figure out what text would be up there. And there's 2 exercises, and then again the answers are down here. Whenever you're ready for them. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to send those out in the week 1 thread. They are coming right this second. There they are. And then I'll send out the homework for next week, so you can start working on that if you want to. This took a lot less time than I thought. I thought we'd go over. So let me see what else I can tell you. Any questions on any of this so far? Did I go too fast? Anything you want me to emphasize more on? I'm ready
Oh,
to start.
Saturday is gonna be virtual, right?
Yeah, we'll give it a try. See how it goes. I know Derek had mentioned if y'all did want to meet up, you could plan to try to meet up as a group. Um, but yeah, I'll be teaching virtual to kind of see how that works out. Um,
Okay,
so
well,
yeah,
if you guys if anybody does do a meetup, please how do just email us? Is that how we'll know?
talk in the Slack channel. That'll be our best way to keep
Okay,
it
got
all
it.
together. Yeah, that'll be our main
All right,
communication.
yeah. Any of you guys do that, let me know.
Okay, that'll work. Derek, did I miss anything? Anything I should emphasize more?
No, I think you covered everything pretty much.
Okay.
Oh, I guess one thing I would mention, header tags, going back to the semantic talk, you do want to make sure that you maintain your order with those. So you want to do like how you would typically do a header in like an essay or something. You mainly for the most part only want to have one H1 tag, and then each subheader, like the H2s would be subheaders under that H1, and so on. So that way it's easy for screen readers to follow. I'm not sure if you already mentioned that or not talking about that, but I did want to emphasize that.
Yep, that's good. Good point. Yeah, screen readers it's pretty fun. If y'all haven't done it, when we get done here, just uh, ask whoever, how do I do a screen reader? And they'll start talking and you'll have to figure out how to turn it off. It's
Yeah.
a good time. What else? So I guess so Saturday we're just kind of make kind of a Wikipedia page. So you can this guy right here is what we'll do. Tim Berners-Lee, he was the inventor of the World Wide Web. So that's cool. Oh, and HTML and the URL system and HTTP. Did a lot of things. So we'll make this kind of about ourselves, right? So we'll try to have an image. We'll try to, this would be like your H1 kind of thing, some side content. And we'll do it initially with just HTML, obviously. And then in the coming weeks, we'll style it up with CSS and do some other cool stuff with it. Just for a foreshadowing of what's going on. Okay. I guess if nobody's got anything, you can have 5 minutes of your day back. So if you have any questions, if you didn't finish the homework, please continue onto that. If you got questions, I mean, we all volunteer to do this, so we love to answer questions. So please ask them. Yeah.
When will you typically send out the homework for the next?
I'll send it out right after this.
Okay, excellent, cool, thank you.
Yeah, give you a little bit more time. Yep. All right. Nothing else. See y'all later.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Excuse me. Okay.